What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jedi Jive. My name is Mike, and we got another episode of The Bad Batch to react to. This time, episode 10. This one's called Common Ground. We've discussed in the lives how it's possible that they will be ending up on Raxus in this episode. What better place for Common Ground? And things have really started to ramp up the last few episodes, which makes me wonder if this episode they might take a step back a little bit in terms of the intensity. I don't want it to. I would obviously love for them to just keep ramping up and getting crazier and crazier. I'm super excited that they brought Cad Bane back. He's already gotten more screen time this episode than like Tarkin and Rampart and those other villains they introduced in the beginning that we really haven't even seen since the beginning. And Crosshair, although he's, on their tail and keeps showing up, he doesn't really ever really seem to be featured that much. So right now, Cad Bane seems like this pretty prominent bad guy, and it was just revealed in the last episode that Fennec Shand isn't necessarily a bad guy. She's been hired by Nala Se essentially to keep Omega away from Kamino, and which was counterintuitive because we assumed that everyone wanted to bring her back. But it seems like Nala Se cares for Omega and wants her safe, and Fennec Shand is essentially her protector now, in a way, or Omega is attempting to protect her. Whether the Bad Batch doesn't know that, they just know that everyone's after Omega, that Kamino is desperately trying to get her back so that they can use her pure DNA to continue with their cloning experiments and stay relevant to the Empire. So, whether or not Cad Bane is going to get her back, Fennec Shand is going to be attempting to save her, Boba Fett is obviously going to come into play because we now know that they are officially, Omega and Boba Fett are Alpha and Omega. They're twin siblings. Omega's probably maybe a year or two younger than Boba Fett in terms of when she was created, but she's genetically identical other than the fact that she's a girl. And we're also assuming that she may or may not have some special ability that they've added on top of it. So maybe she's even got more than Boba Fett. We do know that Boba Fett was trained by Jango Fett and that Omega hasn't. She's only really just started her training alongside the Bad Batch. So Boba Fett may have more trained skills than her, but since they're a genetic match, that means that they're going to have to come head to head at some point. And whether or not they're going to be friendly, that's up for grabs. We can assume that Omega is going to be friendly. It's basically whether or not Boba Fett is going to accept Omega as his sister and whether or not that's going to lead to good things. I have a feeling they're going to be conflicted at first, but Boba Fett is going to probably open up to her at some point because she's the only family he has now that Jango is dead. Anyway, I don't want to do too much speculation. I just want to jump in and have some fun. Let's do it. Okay, the Empire's here. Are we going to see Lux Bonteri? Ahsoka's boyfriend?
Planets within the Confederacy of Independent Systems Valley.
Right.
I can't go through with this.
Senator?
GS8,
So much propaganda.
follow my instructions to the letter.
What will happen, Senator?
Well, he's going to get himself killed.
I promise to...
Yep. He's second guessing himself.
This is wrong.
I can no longer condone this unjust occupation. But we shall not cower at them. Die.
They're all booing.
We have every right to be here.
Uh-oh. The ATTE. The Empire's really starting to seem oppressive now. That classic Empire siren. Okay, yeah. Well, at least they didn't kill the senator. They just took him prisoner.
How's the man?
No, we're back on Ord Mantell at Sid's.
Better than ever.
More Mantell mix.
I've got a mission for you boys. A simple extraction on Raxus.
And girls.
I'm not interested in a history lesson, Goggles.
There you go. Sid really just does not care about good or bad. It's all just money, money, money.
Gonna happen.
Technically, this is a good mission.
Your debt's still not paid, remember? A job's a job.
I am not bringing Omega to a planet swarming with Imperials.
I'll keep an eye on her.
Probably not much better.
If anything happens to her...
Yeah, Bandana. Just get out of here, will you?
Goggles, bandana. She just calls them by their accessories.
Not this time, Omega.
You're gonna stay
We're
here.
staying with Sid.
Yeah, we're back to telling Omega she has to stay in place.
Now get scrubbing.
Clean up. Manual labor. I mean, now would be a good time to bump into Lux Bonteri, since we haven't seen Lux Bonteri in a while. Oh, cool, there's foliage. That's cool. They haven't really ever shown foliage in Star Wars like that. It's always like a green forest.
We're here to do a job.
I am very pleased to hear you say that.
We're working for a droid?
My master, Senator Singh, was arrested for speaking out against the unjust
We
occupation.
don't care. Just take us to where the senator's being held.
Fair enough.
Enough with the moping around. You're bringing the mood down around here. All right, I'll bite. What's wrong with you? Maybe if you weren't so helpless, those 4 laser brains wouldn't have left you here with me.
I'm not helpless.
Look, kid, I told Dark and Broody I'd keep an eye on you and keep you safe.
Dark and broody. Babysitting is the hardest job.
We have reached our destination.
Raxus has so many similarities to Naboo.
In level, why do I get the feeling you're setting us up?
It is against my programming to send my allies into danger.
We need to take out the compound surveillance system.
You! This is a restricted area!
This is my master's residence. I suggest you leave before...
Stop! Stop!
Alright, so we're gonna try to break the senator out of jail.
I am tapped into their security system.
They've come up against little to no resistance so far.
You and Omega loop back around. That would be impossible, seeing as Omega is not on this mission. Ah, right.
He forgot about that.
Can you direct me to the nearest egress?
Nice. Oof.
Do be careful.
Good catch.
This antique vase was gifted to Senator Singh for his years of service.
I wouldn't do that.
Hear that? We got an expert here.
I told you.
Well, expert. What should I
So
do
Omega's
next?
good at chess now too? Forgot the name of the game. Checkmate.
How'd you know to do that?
It's a strategy game. I'm good at strategy.
Okay.
Enough to win a few matches for some money?
She's like Rain Man now. She's gonna have her count cards.
We will acquire what we need from you.
I hear a torture droid. Ooh. Nice.
I knew you'd come through, GS8.
And behold, I have saved your most prized vase.
Our position
Word is
has
out.
been compromised.
Time to leave.
There. We'll seize that tank and blow our way out of here.
That was easy.
Get this thing moving, Tech.
Uh-oh. Oh shit.
The rear axle stabilizer is offline.
One hit and they're out. You have them set to stun. Nice. They're making a point not to kill anybody. That's good. He's gonna use the vase to, yeah. Nice.
I never much cared for that vase. If you don't mind, please blast a hole in the wall right here.
That I can do.
Hurry! This way! What am I doing?
Yeah, he wants to stay with his people.
I cannot abandon my people. I must help them.
You will, Senator, but not if you are in Imperial custody.
Plus, they need to get paid.
She's right. Live to fight another day.
What's all this?
Omega's making a killing with Cid playing chess.
No one can stop this kid!
She's on a roll. She made 10 times more money than they did.
Of course.
She's like Bobby Fischer. She's a chess prodigy.
Kid, where'd you learn to do that?
She's a natural. I've never seen anything like it.
I told you to keep a low profile. This is the opposite.
Ease up, Bandana. Omega made enough money to pay off the debt you boys owe me.
Nice. There you go.
You did good.
So that's like kind of like Omega's real special skill there is her
You really paid off our debt?
strategy ability.
I wanted to be useful, even if I couldn't go on the mission.
How about we put those strategy skills to the test? One match. If you win, then no more sitting out on missions.
He's like, I don't believe you're that good.
You ready for this?
Are you?
Put him in his place, Omega. That's awesome. Cool, man. That's a solid ending. Okay, so yeah, solid episode, fun episode. I think that like I correctly predicted that they were going to dial things back a little bit and go back to, not in terms of the action, because that was some good action in that episode, but we didn't get any high flying story advances in this episode, other than sort of the sort of reveal that Omega's ability is strategy, and that if she's a natural at this game and can just all of a sudden beat everybody. We haven't seen her playing this game. Whether or not she's played it before on Kamino, who knows? But just like everything else, she picked it up super quickly and became like an expert at it. And Cid used her to her financial benefit, obviously. But that sort of moment alone of like Omega using her strategy to make money to pay off their debts, and she didn't even have to go on the dangerous mission with them. Hunter is obviously not pleased because he wanted her to keep a low profile or whatever. But I think that little scene of them sitting down and Hunter being like, let's if you win, then I won't make you stay anymore. And if I win, then, it's just one of those he's considering they've already formed like a family, but now it's really sort of like we're equals. Everybody has their own thing to contribute. And Omega is obviously, he wants to protect her for obvious reasons. So that's why he's like, he doesn't want her to come on a dangerous mission, but at the same time, like, she's proven herself very useful, and her skills they come in more than handy on more than one occasion, and here, like, their debt is paid off now. So whether or not they have to keep interacting with Cid moving forward, who knows, but Cid is clearly not good or bad. The fact that this time the mission was going to rescue the senator from Raxus, and it was like, oh, well, I guess Cid does good things too, is that all she cares about is money. So that was fun, seeing Cid and Omega interact, and I just love how Cid basically doesn't call anybody by their name. She calls Tech Goggles, and she called Hunter Dark and Broody and Headband. So Cid is a funny character, and now that their debt is paid off, I'm assuming that means they don't have to interact with her anymore, but I I think she's established at this point, and we'll probably see her again. Probably give her the opportunity to betray them, because, like I said, she's not going to show any loyalty. She's only going to show loyalty to money, which is that's just the way her character has been shown. But like I said, nothing crazy in terms of advancing the story in this episode. It was just they went to Raxus, they did a classic smash and grab, and just broke in, got the senator, got out, didn't really get put in any intense danger. They, for a second there in the walkers, like they got cornered a little bit, but the senator showed them the back, the secret route, and they got out that way. So they didn't really, the stakes didn't feel that high. It didn't feel like at any point they were in any real danger. So that was followed along with it in terms of it just feeling like they were dialing it back a little bit, and that in the last few episodes we had Cad Bane, and it just felt really intense and the stakes were high, but we didn't have anything involving Cad Bane or Fennec Shand or Camino or any of that in this episode. It was just them going and doing a side mission. So you can call it a side mission episode, but it was also, it had that feeling, not only because we're returning to Raxus, which is from the Clone Wars, but it had that feeling of just sort of a classic regular old Clone Wars episode, which is, some people are going to be like, oh, that was a boring side episode, but some people are going to be, they're just going to love it just for that aspect of it, that it just felt like a fun, regular Clone Wars episode. And I had assumed that it would make sense that we would see Lux Bonteri, but we didn't end up seeing him. I guess, people saw Braca, and they were like, oh, we're going to see Cal Kestis, and you see Raxus, and you're like, oh, maybe we'll see Lux Bonteri. But I like that they don't just bring in the obvious character just because they're on that planet, because that just goes towards making the galaxy feel too small. It would have been fun to see Lux, because we haven't seen him in a while, and maybe he would have something to say about Ahsoka or something like that. But, we're after 10 episodes now. I guess this means we have, 5 more episodes, right? So we're getting there. We're getting towards the end, and although this episode may have taken a step back a little bit, they're going to have to start, ramping up once more towards the finale. So I'm assuming the last few episodes are gonna be crazy. At some point, the whole, like I said, Boba Fett really seems primed to show up. I'm surprised he hasn't at this point, but he's going to have to show up at some point in order to have some sort of interaction with Omega, which we would definitely want to see. So, I mean, like Boba Fett, we still have like Tarkin and Rampart and Crosshair and that whole thing going on, and no Crosshair this episode. So we know that there's things going on in the background now. Fennec Shand is trying to keep Omega away from Camino, and so at some point we're probably going to have to end up back on Camino, whether we like it or not. Whether or not that happens this season, I'm assuming that they're planning on doing more Bad Batch, but we're going to have to wait and see moving forward. Anyway, I really enjoyed this episode, even though it didn't really do much for the story, because it just had it had fun action, and it was just fun to watch. So in general, I enjoyed it. I definitely wouldn't name it as one of my favorite episodes, because the last couple episodes have been so good. It's going to be hard to get better than that, but I hope we do get back to Cad Bane soon, because he was making things really interesting. So guys, let me know what you thought about this episode in the comments below. If you want to see a fully unedited reaction, go over to patreon.com/JediJive. I'll put one up, link in the description. Also, I'll put a link to the Jedi Jive Discord in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.